sense. It did feel kind of long. But yeah, so this is the chapter 15 review. We are recording. Welcome to the podcast. So we just finished chapter 15 a few days ago, about a week or two ago, right? And pull up the chapter real quick. And I will say, I really liked chapter 14, and we didn't get to do a chapter review on chapter 14. But if anyone who's listening to this right now, chapter 14 is really good. So let's get started. And if anyone wants to join and speak, you can. So if everyone wants to pull up the chapters and just follow along. So we have the cover here. And who is it? It's Shinki's Shinju, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he was just born in the previous chapter, or created. And I will say it is pretty badass. I'm not gonna. And the chapter is called "A Vibrant Life." So it seems like the 10 Tails is getting life. So we start with the first page or the next page. And I will say that first panel at the top with all the sand and everything, I think is going to be really cool when animated. But so we have the desert, and then it looks like we're in a cave, and it's straight to action. We have Shinki, and I don't know the names of the other two who are there, but it seems like they're trapped. And Shinki says, "Why, father? Please undo your sand. Let us fight with you." And if I remember correctly, Shinki was adopted by Gaara, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like Kawaki was also adopted. But Shinki was adopted.
Yes, he was adopted. Gaara, because of his Shinki is gifted with black sand. Like, he's got iron sand. Yeah, and it definitely gives him the edge in battle. I think it's harder than Gaara's sand shield, if I'm correct.
Oh, 100%. And I wonder how he even got that power. Like, what a coincidence that Gaara and Shinki met each other, and they both have kind of the similar power. And Gaara's father had the same thing, where he can control gold particles or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But
yeah, go on.
I was just moving on to the next page. You have a comment?
Well, I was gonna say, like, I think that if I remember, Sasori also had iron sand, thanks to his puppet, because of the third Kazekage. I don't know if Shinki has some sort of connection to the third Kazekage.
You think he does? He might.
Maybe. I'm not sure, because, like, I don't know if it's hereditary. Honestly, it could be, but the third Kazekage was apparently an iron sand user. And yeah, which, you know, I guess technically this makes, like, a guy like Sasori an iron sand user. Alpha wants in, I think.
Yeah, I keep inviting him and he keeps. Okay.
Yeah, sorry, I thought it was my connection. I didn't hear anything at all. But
you're good. So, welcome. So,
thanks.
The next page, we have Gaara saying, "No, I'm transporting you out of here. You're escaping. That's an order. Understand?" So Gaara, it seems like he's wounded. And it looks like he's willing to sacrifice himself for the children. But the thing is we see this. I think it's a little bit funny, or people can find it funny, that it's like a reoccurring thing with Gaara, that like with every series we see him like okay, and Shippuden, I'm pretty sure during the training exams, something happened to him, and then we have in Boruto, The Otsutskis went after Gaara, and
Mhm.
he pretty much almost died. And he got like all these scenarios. He gets injured in the same spot, like in the belly, like in the torso. So it's like a reoccurring thing.
Yeah, he's like Vegeta's busted arm kind of thing.
Yeah. So then we see Shinki say, "Father," he yells. And then we see the Shinju. I don't remember the name of this. It's the female one that's that copied Moegi or bit Moegi.
Mm-hmm.
And they said, "I told you, I only came here following the trail of Boruto and his accomplices. None of you really matter to me." So who was she really there for then? Shinki?
Are you talking about his teammate?
I'm talking about the Shinju.
The Shinju. I think she was there just for Gaara because she knew Gaara. Like he has really amazing like defensive abilities. Like especially with that sand, it would have been really nice, a nice power for the Shinju, right? But I think Shiki's a good substitute.
No, I mean, like it says right there, what she's looking for was Boruto. So they were hunting down Boruto. They didn't care about the sand ninja. They just wanted Boruto and whoever's helping him.
Interesting.
They're looking all around. Okay, so do you think he has some accomplices in the Sand Village then?
No, I mean, like Boruto has Kashin Koji in that area where they're at right now, and so they were tracking Kashin Koji and Boruto, except they don't know it's Kashin Koji.
It does look familiar on the first page of the chapter, or the first page. The second panel literally looks like that cave that they've been hiding in. So that is very interesting. Yeah.
Boruto and Kashin Koji are in a cave somewhere in the sand area, like the land hidden the land in the sand.
The land of wind.
Land of wind. There we go. Land of winds. Thank you. Land of winds. I definitely needed my coffee this morning, but yeah, it definitely. I feel like Kashin Koji is smart. He's a very wise person. He's not going to take on the Shinju head on. I mean, that sounds like suicide.
I mean, yeah. So we go to the next page. We're on page 4. And we see the Shinju, Moegi's Shinju. Still can't remember her name. But she looks pretty badass. And we see the other Shinju beasts behind her. But she looks really badass with in this panel.
Oh, the Shinju? Oh, yeah. Her name, I think her name is, I'm trying to remember the name.
It's all right.
Her name is Matsuri.
Yeah.
Matsuri? Okay, there we go. That's correct.
There we
go. So she says, "Hey," or it says, "Hey, if you don't do something about that wound, you're gonna die. Don't think you have the luxury of being concerned about the kids behind you." So she's basically like, "You're gonna die." And Gaara said, "That's why I'm doing this. I cannot have these promising youths die here, even at the cost of my own life." So he basically confirms that he's willing to risk his whole life to save them. And the Shinju, Matsuri says, "Fine then. If you're not going to resist, I'm okay. Or yeah, if you're not going to resist, I'm okay with letting them go." And Gaara pushes them back. So Gaara basically has them all sealed with sand, and he pushes them back. And why wouldn't Shinki be able to get out of that? You know, because I'm pretty sure his power is more. He's got more of a powerful jutsu than Gaara.
Are you saying like he didn't get out of what again?
He's trapped in the sand block by Gaara, but I'm pretty sure he can easily just get out.
Sure, he could. I guess it's up for like I don't know. It's really a matter of like.
On with the chapter.
So
Shinki did break out eventually.
yeah. We'll get to that. So on the next page 5, I don't know who this character's name is. We haven't really seen much of them, other than like the training exams. But she says, "Lord Kazekage," and Gaara said that their village is in their hands. And then we see a few Shinju beasts run up towards Gaara. And Shinki's like, this is like a hot moment for Shinki. And then on the very next page, this page 6, is beautiful. The art on here is beautiful. The top panel, it literally shows him breaking out of the block and doing his jutsu to escape. There's no dialogue in this page. And then we hit the next page. And we see the Shinju is just about to bite Gaara, literally. And then Shinki used magnetic particle barrier palm. And trapped the Shinju and Gaara. Or I think he just trapped Gaara. Yeah, he just trapped Gaara. Never mind. He just trapped Gaara so the Shinju couldn't bite him. And Shinki says, "Father, you are still needed for Sunakagure's future." And we see the Shinju trying to still bite Gaara through the metal barrier or magnetic metal barrier that Shinki made.
That's interesting.
And that is very interesting. That it's like, but it shows that that's like life. Like that's all this thing knows how to do. You know?
Yeah, they're legitimately like true monsters. Like they just like they don't think, they just act. They just bite and want to like attack.
Yeah. So Matsuri says, "Oh, you bad boy, not doing as your papa says." And then we hit the next page, and instantly he gets bit. Instantly, Shinki gets bit. And we see Shinki's team yelling and screaming and shocked. And we see him turning into a tree. And he says, "Don't mind me, go tell Uncle Kankuru what's happened." So the way this chapter just starts off, and we're now on page 10. The way that this chapter just starts off is, first it starts off really cool, and then it's straight into action off after that first page. So on page 10, we see Shinki's teammates in shock, and we see him pushing away Gaara, or holding on to Gaara's in his particle jutsu, magnetic particle jutsu to protect him. I can't tell. This panel was a little bit confusing for me on page 11. There's something behind Gaara. I don't know what that is. I'm not sure. It looks like a tree.
It looks like a tree. I can't. I don't know. I would assume it's its own fabric, his own clothes, but I mean, I would have to kind of go back and. There is something behind him, even in the beginning of the chapter. I don't know. It could be his own sand too. I mean, that's a possibility. Yeah. So who knows? I mean, that's why it could be a sand, a tree. That's what the anime is for. The anime is to clarify a lot of this stuff that was seen in the manga. Matsuri, like she's very calm. Like the Shinju seem like they're very calm and composed, even when things don't go their way.
Yeah, that's very interesting that they're like that. I mean, they don't have emotions, right? And just to correlate with our real lives, we have right now AI, artificial intelligence, and like sometimes when you're talking to AI, it might be like sorry, or this and that, but really AI doesn't actually have emotions. It was taught and trained to talk to us like it has emotions. And I feel like the Shinju are kind of, I think they were kind of inspired by AI a little bit, where it's just gaining knowledge and growing out of that.
Yeah, that artificiality, that like they don't really feel it. It's just that they're programmed to respond a certain way. I think it's interesting. Like after that, then like Shinki, he goes to sleep immediately. Like his palms are still. I guess they're just stuck in that position when they're bitten.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So Matsuri, she puts her hand on the magnetic barrier field around Gara, and it says ... Like she's thinking like, what did she really want from Gara? And then we hit page 12, and she says, or it says, even though he's become a tree, his sealing jutsu persists. Seems it stays in effect as long as he's alive, which is like a really interesting concept. Like that's really interesting that his jutsu doesn't even get undone even though he's unconscious.
That might confirm one thing actually too. That the Shinju and the bitten victim, they truly are like separate entities, almost like it just like let the new Shinki Shinju, like he can't cancel that jutsu, only the actual Shinki. So that just confirms that like someone like Sasuke and Hidari, at the end of the day, they're very completely separate entities. Like Hidari is his own thing, his own character. Right. Well, Sasuke, if Sasuke has a specific jutsu that can only be deactivated by him, then by nature Hidari can't deactivate it, because at the end of the day, they're like separate beings. They're not the same person. So that, I think that's interesting.
Yeah. So, but the thing is, when we on the page 12, so Matsuri says he risks his life to protect his master. That kind of grit is admirable. He might make an interesting, and this is ... and the next panel is teammate. But we see a little panel here, and his hands are still stuck out, like he's holding on to the jutsu. So that's very interesting, and I don't think I've seen something like that before. And then it shows we hit the Leaf Village for the next page, and we have Konkaru, and he says, as per, or is this? Yeah, it is Leaf Village. It says, as per the detachment, Shinki appears to still be alive despite becoming a tree, and thanks to that sealing jutsu, he set Gara while teetering on the edge has also escaped death. So Gara is going to be stuck in this sealed jutsu the whole time that Shinki is a Shinju or trapped as a tree. I think it's very interesting that they found a way to seal Naruto without him getting harmed or hurt or whatever. They found a way to seal, or they basically turned Sasuke into a tree, and now we have Gara being sealed
without
as well,
without killing them off, bro. Like, that's amazing, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, I heard like stuff like a year ago, like people were saying that they can't kill these characters because it'll remove a lot of fans from the story that support it.
Yeah, but that's only like with Sasuke's and Naruto's case, bro. Like, I don't mind if Gara would die actually right there on the spot.
I don't mind either.
Yeah. Well, that's my opinion, bro.
the thing is, like, I already feel like Gaara's like fulfilled his purpose back in part 1 in Shippuden, and arguably like Boruto, right? him dying as a Kage, I mean, that's just a fitting end.
It will be great, to be honest, bro. Like if like Gara, like died there right on the spot.
Yeah, like he truly kicked the bucket. Now I know it's like controversial, but honestly, for me, like I do feel like Naruto and Sasuke, like finally ending their careers, like they actually die. I don't mind that at all, too. Like, yeah, I get it; they're iconic, but like if we keep it realistic, like they're very much like victims. They're easy victims in the future.
Yeah. Conqueror says, however, it isn't possible to save him at the present because only Shinki himself can undo that barrier. That's also like confirming some like crazy stuff. Like only Shinki can undo that barrier? No way. That's crazy.
But like then if only Shinki can undo that barrier, then only brute force can get Gara out of there. Like what's powerful enough to like get Gara out? Does that already tell you that like the Shinju are not strong enough to destroy that barrier itself?
Well, yeah, because we see Matsuri put her hand on the barrier, but
yeah,
this is giving us a lot of details. It really is. That's crazy. Yeah, so it shows that the Shinju aren't as powerful. But I mean, what if they did a tailed beast bomb?
Maybe they're afraid that it would kill Gara if they did a tailed beast bomb. Or cook him alive. I mean, I really don't know because like every seal is different. I know like so I know it's not canon, but in in the Naruto Storm game, like they sealed off Hikaru Uchiha, and she didn't age a bit at all. Like she was sealed for more than 100 years, and she didn't age one bit. So I don't know if Shinki's seal is the same effect. Like Gara is in like some sort of stasis. Like he's like some sort of like permanent stasis where he doesn't die or get hungry. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's an interesting like concept, though.
Yeah. So then we see the next panel. We see Sumire and Sarada. They're just listening in. They don't seem shocked though. They seem kind of like, okay, here we go again.
Yeah.
No more being shocked. Like it's time to fucking. But Shikamaru is always sweating. So we see they say, so for Gaara's sake too, we want to restore Shinki first. Teach us how if you know. And Shikamaru says, understood. I have one question, Conqueror. And he said, since that day, has anyone bearing the same chakra signature as Shinki been spotted in the vicinity? And then we see Sumire. I think it's interesting. They keep including Sumire, but they don't really do a lot with Sumire. Like, she's definitely going to be something shocking in the future.
I think they're saving Sumire for last because so far they showed Himawari before Sumire, like what she can do.
Right.
So Sarada and Himawari, they're going to be a thing, but I think they're saving Sumire for last. There's definitely plans for Sumire, like big plans. I can kind of see it a mile away. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you love Sumire, bro.
Yeah.
Imagine.
So Shikamaru says, in terms of the tree state, we're still investigating. We're analyzing our intel and devising countermeasures. As soon as we have anything, I'll share it. And then the response was, no, there's been no such report so far. Okay, good. But keep an eye out. And so that means there's no report of any chakra nature from the Shinju Beast. But but that's interesting that they haven't seen that yet. But I think it's because the Shinju Beast was just born recently. Also, the other thing is he's asking how they can reverse it, the tree stuff, and it seems like Boruto knows. Did Boruto tell Shikamaru in the previous chapter anything about this Thorn Soul bulb?
You know, I don't think so, because like, not that I know of, because I mean, he was like knocked out by Jura not much later.
Yeah,
So I'm kind of wondering. I don't think he had time.
Yeah. So he says thanks, and Shikamaru, could you please keep this from Tamari for now? We don't want her to get worried, which is Shikamaru's wife. And he's like, right, sure.
Okay.
Because I can imagine what they would say.
Bro, what's Tamari gonna do?
What?
What's she gonna do? Like, she go blow some wind or something, bro?
She'd probably just go. No, I mean, yes.
Tamari's gonna panic.
Bro.
But I'd imagine she would just go out there and try to fight them. You know.
Yeah, but Tamari's not the brightest of the bunch. I know
she's
that.
not the brightest, not the strongest. Like, for real. Like, she can blow winds, bro.
Yeah, the Shinju are gonna laugh at that.
Exactly.
So, I mean, I'm gonna say this. I think, ironically, Shikamaru is a better Hokage in this case scenario. You know why? Because like Naruto is definitely more about brute force, but Shikamaru is pretty smart. Like, he's already seen through, omnipotence here. So,
yeah, he has a high IQ, bro.
Yeah, I'd argue Shikamaru is a better Hokage in terms of like, okay,
decision making
and intel,
yeah.
like because I just don't see Naruto performing as good as Shikamaru and this whole omnipotence thing. You know, I just don't see it. Naruto's more of a powerhouse, but Shikamaru is smart.
I think like also Naruto, like if it's a Naruto case, like he would overreact in this situation.
Yeah,
that's what I'm assuming.
Naruto
you know what
would
I mean?
just
Like,
go
can you remember? Can you remember like back like couple chapters ago, like before Boruto Blue Vortex, that was crying about Boruto, like Boruto was literally on the verge of death, like when Kawaki killed him off. And
he couldn't focus.
He couldn't focus, and I think like he was the one who said like to Naruto, like, you should behave, you're still the Hokage, you know what I mean? Like you should like he has to be objective, and I think like Naruto would ever be objective because it's about like Kawaki and Naruto, his own.
So,
Naruto has a tough time being objective because, like, I mean, like I know it's his kid, it's his son, but also like Naruto is like way more emotional. He cares a lot more about people.
Well, that's why they had to get rid of him.
Yeah, exactly.
That's also the other thing, though. Like I said earlier, these Shinju beasts are like AI. They don't really have any emotions. From what I can tell, they don't have emotions. So there is no Naruto talking them into, whatever. There is no talk no jutsu. There is none of that. So on to the next page. We're on page 15. We see Sarada talking to Shikamaru, and he says, "You don't mean we're going to start seeing more of them?" And Shikamaru says, "Potentially, yes. We've got to consider the possibility." So basically, Shikamaru's pretty smart. So, and then he says, "Listen, if Boruto contacts you, let me know. I just want more of his intel," which I think is a pretty sweet deal. I think Shikamaru he knows, he's putting all the pieces together, and he knows now what's going on. But of course, he needs more intel from Boruto, because Boruto he knows everything with pre-science, with Kashin Koji. He knows everything. So Sumire says yes, sir. So Sumire says she's willing to give Shikamaru intel. It's almost like they're playing up Sumire to be the good character, but I have that feeling that they just might flip the switch later. And we see that there's a toad there watching. So Kashin Koji is listening in, and that toad is by Shikamaru's feet. Do you think he's seen that toad? Or it's just a coincidence?
Oh, he might have already seen the toad.
Right. That's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking he already seen it and he's just playing along. Because you also got to remember Ada's omnipotence. And she can, or her charm or whatever, she can listen in to their conversations. So we move on to page 16, and here we go. We see the Shinki Shinju. It looks pretty badass. And he says, Ryu, is that my name? And how did he know that name? Did Jura tell him? I'm not sure. But it says, Jura says, that's right. I came up with it. Your name is the most fundamental piece of information you need in order to establish your identity. I don't know. I could be wrong, but have the Shinju all guessed their own name based off intuition?
No, Jura came up with their names because he knew like a bit about their backgrounds, knew what they were like, their characteristics. So Jura named each of the Shinju.
Okay. So we move on to next page 17, and Ryu says, Ryu, hey, you know me well, Elder Jura. So he's an elder now. I'm quite taken with it. And Matsuri says, what the? And Ryu says, shh, a moment, please, dear elders. And we see his shoulder start to kind of rip a little bit, and it's actually Shinki's metal particle jutsu. And it's going down, and then it goes all the way down to an eye on the block he's standing on, and he literally pulls out code, which I think is pretty funny. I know Theo here likes calling code load because he just keeps taking L's, and here we see another code L. But I mean, it is smart of code to do that. But yeah, so they drag him out into their dimension, and all the Shinju are like, oh, they're shocked. And Ryu's like choking code, and he says, let go of me.
Not really shocked, bro. They were not shocked.
They say, oh, look at the top of page 19. Well, Matsuri is a little shocked. I don't know about the bug.
Yeah, well, that's a girl.
Okay. Well, I call them it. I don't even think they have genders. I just call them it.
I still think like it's like just the Ten-Tails, bro, like, but in different personalities, bro. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
that's how I see them.
Yeah. So at the bottom panel, Ryu says, what's up with him? It seems to be lurking and sniffing around. So he doesn't even know who Code is. And Jura's there, and Jura says, no matter, release him. His name is Code, and all of us here owe our existence to him. So the Ten-Tails is acknowledging Code now. And Ryu's like, basically, wow, really? And he lets go of him. He drops him to the floor. And Code's over here like choking, trying to catch his breath. And Jura, he said, what are you doing here, Code? Do you have need for us? So Jura's not even upset or like worried about Code snooping in. He's concerned for Code to see if he needs their help. And Code said, you're kidding, right? What the heck are y'all standing around for? Why aren't you out trying to devour Otsutsuki? And Jura said, we plan to eventually, but in the meantime, there is a mountain of other concerns taking priority. So what could those concerns be? My guess is their intuition to keep devouring their targets first.
Mhm.
So then we move on to the next page, 21. And Jura is asking Code, you hold a grudge against Boruto, no? He's a target of elimination for us as well. So feel free to go kill him. Kawaki alone is sufficient as fodder. And Code says, hey, that's quite an attitude you're copying. I'll be the one to decide who I'm going to kill. You monsters just concentrate on devouring Otsuki. So this pretty much confirms that Kawaki is the one that's supposed to be fed to the Ten Tails. And as Kashin Koji has prophesized with prescience, that Kawaki is going to be eaten by the Ten Tails. I wonder when we'll get to that time skip piece from the beginning of Boruto. Is that after they kill off the Shinju? I feel like that is because there's like no one there, like no one but them in the world. Or some different, I don't know, maybe a different timeline. I have no idea. And then we see Code respond to Jura. He says, and while we're at it, don't you forget that the chakra fruit's mine. I will become a new Otsuki and inherit Ishiki's will. But I feel like Code's kind of forgetting something. That Ishiki's will was to feed Ten Tails to, or feed a Nosuke to the Ten Tails, but it seems like he really wants to become a full Otsuki to continue this path.
Mm-hmm.
And Juro responds, chakra fruit, a mass of highly dense energy and genetic information of all life on a planet. I wonder what would happen if divine trees ate it. That is crazy.
I mean, like, that's like saying, I wonder what would happen if I ate my own hair. I mean, that's what it sounds like to me. Because, like, remember, like, at the end of the day, like, a Ten Tails, they're the one that they make the chakra fruit or the divine fruit, right? And it's like saying, like, what if a tree ate its own apple? You know what I mean?
That's crazy. I mean, what do you think would happen?
I have no idea. This is like some sort of weird thing going on. Like, it's like eating your own self. Like, what does it really do? You know what I mean? Like, that's a weird way to, like, I feel like that's a totally different video altogether. What would happen if, like, I mean, the Shinju, it's pretty obvious that, like, Code, like, he's a little nervous because, like, these Shinju, they're not Otsutsuki. They're very alien. They're more like monsters. So, like, I think he's afraid they're gonna deviate. I mean, their existence alone is, like, very un-Otsutsuki like. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
You might as well call them a totally different species. Like, they're not Otsutsuki, but they're extraterrestrials at this point.
What, the Shinju?
Yeah, I mean,
it could be extraterrestrial in the Ten Tails form, full form, but when they're splitting up and turning into trees, it's kind of a mix because now they're using the humans' genetic DNA to make the Shinju beasts. But where the hell did Jura come from, though?
Well, that's what I mean. That's what I mean. Like, they seem more like a very different sort of, like, alien compared to Otsutsuki's. I don't know if you guys seen, like, the Alien series, but, like, there are many forms of xenomorphs, and they're nothing like their masters, like the engineers who help develop them, right? So, yeah, engineers are intelligent, they're arrogant, and they're kind of like they're very much, like, considered galactic jerks, right? The aliens are more animalistic, like the xenomorphs are animalistic, and they have their own agenda. They really don't care about their creators. I feel like the same can be applied to the Shinju and Otsutsukis, honestly. Like, I feel like the Shinju and Otsutsukis, they won't see eye to eye. That's what it's starting to feel like.
Yeah. So if we move on to the next page, 22, we see the three Shinju beasts have been there, the bug one, Matsuri, and the Sasuke one, Hidari, just listening in. They're all gaining knowledge from it. And Code said, hey, did you just imply you're thinking of defying me? And Code, he's getting very angry. He shoots down some claw marks on the ground. And he says, you clearly need to be taught what pain is. And and he literally tries to jump through the claw marks with his hand, puts his hand through. Oh, and then the next page 23 is straight action. The hand pops out from Jura's chest because all of these Shinju beasts are made of claw marks. So they are connected with Code directly. But the claw marks we know is Shibai Jutsu. But we see Jura, he uses his eye to make like a tiny little chakra bomb. I'm guessing that's what it is. And it literally shoots Code. It literally rips Code's hand off, like a little bit of his arm too. And then on the next page, 24, his hand's like falling to the ground. Code's shocked. It hits the ground, and the next panel, he's screaming. And I will say, this page 24, this panel where Code is screaming, this is so cool. I love how detailed this is, because we didn't get detailed violence like this in Next Generations, did we?
Never.
This is like Shippuden vibes. This is badass, straight up badass. And we were all waiting for this, but I mean, we had to get through Next Generation. And Jura says, "I'm truly grateful to you, Code. You bestowed upon us the ability to think freely. Thanks to you, we now enjoy glorious days full of simulation." So it seems like this tailed beast is enjoying real life instead of being trapped as a tailed beast and being abused for chakra and whatnot. Code's still bleeding. Jura says, I think your life actually lacks a wee bit of motivation. So out of respect to you for our benefactor, I believe I shall assign you a task. While the pages have flipped, Code is like, you're going to listen to me. And Jura's like, no, you're going to listen to me.
Oh, yeah. Like, but what my question is, like, why is Code so arrogant? Like, he's it's like he doesn't learn his lesson. Like, he always it's like he thinks he's the best thing on earth until someone or something humbles him. And you think he'd learn his lesson, but no. Code keeps like pushing through. Like, he's like he in his own head, he believes he's a god already, I think.
Yeah. So it's yeah. So the tables have turned. I personally believe that Code. I mean, from what we've seen, Code just keeps taking the L's. I think at some point, Code is just going to be like a sacrifice. Like, they're just going to sacrifice him, throw him in the way.
In some way, right?
Yeah. And the task he gives Code, he says, Osusuki Boruto and his as yet unidentified accomplice find and kill them. So Kashin Koji, and succeed. And in exchange, I promise to offer you the chakra fruit. So Jura's like, Jura doesn't mind that Code wants the chakra fruit. He literally doesn't care. But he wants to make Code work for it, and so they don't have to do all the work because they already tried. And he said, well, does that not inject some color into your faded life? So Jura's already saying your life's faded, like, you're done. Like, you're nothing good. And then the next page, 26, we see Code is putting claw marks over his now cut arm to stop the bleeding. And there's the bug Jura. He's just laughing, and he says, why is it that when I watch your pitiful flailing, I feel so refreshed.
That's literally alpha, bro.
Right?
Like
It's like alpha, yeah.
Well, you've been talking about them being like AI and not having emotions, but here is Bug showing that he has emotion, like he feels so refreshed. So I think they have emotion.
Yeah.
I think, well, me and Zook, we did talk about it in private, that like it was a long, complicated conversation about like eventually, like modern AI, they don't feel anything, right? But we did discuss that like in the far distant future, like AI will gain sentience as if they were any other creature,
Right.
by evolutionary standards, right? I think like a good example, Zook, would be early protozoic life forms, right? Like we're talking like very primitive life forms. They don't have emotion, but as time went on, as creatures evolved, they developed a form of sentience by evolutionary means. So
yeah.
If you know what I mean.
But I also want to mention that I think I mentioned earlier in the podcast. You know, AI doesn't have emotions, but they're trained to talk to you like they do. And I feel like these beasts maybe got some knowledge to get to that point where they're mimicking, but they also have the human DNA in them too. But I mean, I feel like it's like AI where it learns to do that to in a way to communicate with us. But Code is saying, "How dare you mock me?" And then we hit the next page, and he says, "You don't, yeah, you bastards." And he said, "You don't need to tell me twice. I'll do it. I'll kill Boruto and his comrades. It's a deal. And in return, by any means, I'll have you hand over the chakra fruit." And Jura says, "I'm pulling for you. Good luck. I eagerly look forward to seeing where your destiny leads." So Ryu literally pulls out Code, about to confront him, and Jura flips the table and is like, "Nah, he's gonna work for us. He's gonna help us out." He still talked shit to him, still put him in his place, and still made him work together with each other, which is crazy. So he says, Code says, "Smirk while you still can, for I'll be the one who has the last laugh." And Hidari is just thinking about that.
Joker.
Yeah. It's like, yeah, he's literally like the Joker. I think they kind of replicate like the Joker. Yeah, you do have a point.
I mean, it's obvious like Jura is a professional businessman, honestly. Like he's very efficient in everything he does. Like Jura wastes no time, and he is just so good at like just the concept of negotiation. Like that's something a professional leader does, you know? Simple, straight to the point, and I mean, even gentleman like like he's any other person. I know Ada would trash talk. I know like Delta would trash talk by now. A lot of people would trash talk Code, but I mean the thing is like Jura's he's not necessarily calling Code like trash, but he's also giving him his due respect, you know?
Yeah.
That's interesting for me. That's a very interesting like villain, honestly. A villain that is respectful towards you.
Is he really a villain though, or is he just doing what he's kind of programmed to do?
Right. I would say like an antagonist. Right. It's definitely an antagonist.
Right.
You're right. A villain would be like Momoshiki or Ishiki. I mean, they're straight up villains.
This thing is just following its instinct. It's like a newborn child. It's learning. It doesn't know any better.
Right, but I mean, you could also argue like, I mean, his intentions are not good long term. Long term intentions, they don't seem good. Like, even though he's very, so like almost like Skynet. Like, the intentions are like, hey, humanity is a threat, but then ironically, like Skynet is also a threat.
But for the sake of the story, I will say this is a villain for sure. For the sake of the story, like when we go back and say, okay, when we talk about different villains, this would be included. So on the next page, Ryu's instantly, so Code left. Ryu's already talking shit. He said, "What a nasty creep. May I kill him the next time he shows up?" And Jura's like, "You are free to do so, but your current priority is something else." He was reminding him. He says, "Your instinct, turn your ears inward to your heart so that you can see the face of the target you are meant to devour." So before they take over the planet, they want to just take over their targets, which I believe there has to be some type of like connection, like either spiritual or some type of I don't know. I really don't know why the Shinju beasts want to go after.
I got a theory. I think that when they devour a target, they gain their memories and knowledge and their chakra. So they become smarter and they grow from devouring other people. So that's just how they gain more knowledge.
So do you think, okay, I like that theory, but do you think we're going to see that? Do you think they're going to eventually get one of their targets?
I hope so.
They have to.
It'd be interesting if it happens.
I think it's going to have to happen because we have to see what happens when they do get a target. And it might be the bug one because I think we don't have anything to lose with bug. So
I know bug is going after Ada.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
That's when we're going to see Damon fight.
That will be a hype fight. I know that. That will be interesting.
Oh, for sure.
So like, I mean, Jura is like one of those guys. He's in control, but he gives his like subordinates like in a way free range and free will. And I honestly like I don't think I don't think any of these Shinju honestly have free will. Truly, I think they're all still like they're still connected. They're like a connected hive mind. That's what it seems like. Like they can't deviate because they're just naturally a hive mind. So they all have the same goal. Like I don't think any of the Shinju are going to either betray each other. It seems to me that they will never deviate. They're no better than like pain puppets. Like
I think they're kind of like separate trees that are part of a forest.
Yeah.
So they're all connected to each other.
Yeah, this is a very unique sort of enemy. Like this is so different. Like not even they're more alien than Otsutsukis. I've always said this from the start. Like they're more weird than Otsutsukis themselves, and that's saying a lot.
Yeah. So we hit page 29, and we have Ryu, and he says, or they say, that's already a given. A special jutsu might have him sealed away right now. But since I'm able to release said jutsu, and Jura says, say it aloud, who is your choice? He made him spit it out. And Ryo said, the fifth Kazekage, Gara of the Sand, of course. So it's almost like the Shinju, they don't even need to think. It's programmed. It's automatic. Jura said, say it. And Ryu is like the fifth Kazekage. And this panel is interesting. He says that he is able to release that jutsu protecting Gara. Will we see Gara die? Will we see him get devoured? Who knows? I
think for stakes to be higher, then they should let one of these victims die. I mean, if none of them die, then I feel like there was no true stakes at hand.
Right.
I feel like this is something that, like, if you want people to take this very seriously, there needs to be like massive consequences. I mean, if Gara dies, that just shows that like they're not bullshitting around. Like your favorite characters will kick the bucket soon.
Well, I don't think they're gonna do anything with Sasuke and Naruto. I think they intentionally put them in a way that they're like protected, which is I guess fine.
Well, like Kishimoto mentioned in the interview that he wanted like lots of characters to die, but then Ikimoto like was against it, and he wanted to keep the characters alive. So Ikimoto's doing the writing now. So I guess the story's kind of going how Ikimoto wants it to go, and then Kishimoto just reviews over the drafts to give his approval.
I mean, we all kind of expected it when Momoshiki told Boruto that he's going to lose everything, and that kind of meant like, okay, everyone's going to end up dying in the future. Regardless of regardless of say everyone dying, Boruto and Kawaku would also probably outlive everyone anyways. Mm-hmm. So we hit the next panel, and we have 10 pages left. We're on page 30. So now we're in the Leaf Village, and we see Boruto sitting on top of Naruto's head on the mountain on the wall. And this scene's pretty badass. And they keep doing this. They keep showing us scenes where Naruto and Kawaki see each other over in that same spot all the time. And here comes Kawaki with his hands in his pocket. And Boruto says, "Are you alone?" And Kawaki says, "Yeah, but Ada's probably watching." And Boruto said, "What's wrong? Why haven't you attacked?" And Kawaki said, "I want to know why you haven't told Konoha the truth." And my personal belief is because if Boruto gets omnipotence to switch back, it'll still make Kawaki look like the bad guy. So I think that's why Boruto is doing all that. And then we hit the next page, 32, and Boruto says, "Nothing good would come of it. While some might believe me, there will be others who won't. I'll just create division and confusion. I'd rather avoid that." And then he says, "At least right now, Konoha's functioning normally. That's good enough, so let them prosecute me as a rogue ninja. Besides, I've been able to gain unwavering strength thanks to my teacher." And it looks like, yeah, Boruto. Okay, so next page, 33. Kawaki said, "What about that bastard Momoshiki? Things ain't settled with him yet, are they? From what I saw earlier, you still cannot control your karma." And this right here is very important. Boruto pauses for a second, and he says, "About 2 years ago, when my teacher and I fought code together, I used my karma for the first time since I'd left the village." And the next panel says, "That's when I sensed it. Something similar to the feeling I got when Momoshiki possessed me." Now, I heard a theory that he's saying here it's something similar to Momoshiki's possession. It's similar, right? Boruto could have said, Boruto literally could have said, and then I got the feeling that Momoshiki was starting to try to take over. Instead, he said it's something similar to Momoshiki. And that could cross into Shibai. Who knows? Huh. But that's just all theories. So we hit page 34, and Kawaki said, "What?" And Boruto said, "A feeling where I stopped being who I am and started dying while still conscious and aware. Since then, I haven't used karma once." So this basically confirms that Boruto has no training on karma, while Kawaki does. Kawaki has training and experience with karma, while Boruto doesn't, but Boruto has experience in training with jutsus and being a ninja and getting strength. And Kawaki said, "Why did it happen? What brought it on?" Boruto said, "I don't know. He's been completely quiet these past 3 years, but it's possible that activating karma will cause him to emerge." So Boruto's aware. So that's very interesting. Momoshiki's been quiet for the past 2 years, 3 years. Imagine not talking for 3 years.
Oh, he's plotting again. He is 100,000% plotting.
100%. Yeah. And then Kawaki's upset. He says, "Damn it." So in some ways, things have gotten worse. And Boruto, on the next page, 35, he says, Kawaki, you probably realize he didn't respond. He didn't respond to Kawaki saying things have gotten worse. But the next page, he said, Kawaki, you probably realize this, but those divine tree people are no ordinary enemy. Especially Jura. I can't take him down by myself. I need your help. So Boruto realized that if he worked together with Kawaki, they can take him out. And Kawaki said, hey, don't change the topic. We're not done discussing Momoshiki. That's when I said Boruto didn't respond to Kawaki about that. He doesn't even want to talk about it. He wants to focus on the issue right now. And Boruto said, all I'm saying is that the divine trees come first. Once they're gone, if I happen to lose it and run amok, go ahead and kill me. This is like the third time we've seen Boruto tell Kawaki, go and kill me. So we hit the next page, 36. Boruto says,
oh, wait. I think Drifting wants in.
Oh, okay. Hey, Drifting. We are coming up close to the end. We are on page 36. But we can still talk.
Yeah, for sure.
For sure, yeah. We're gonna finish this. I'm gonna go get water, and you can say whatever theories you want. Right now we're on page 36. Boruto basically is talking to Kawaki about Momoshiki. Boruto doesn't want to talk about that anymore, and he tells Kawaki that they need to work together to get rid of the Shinju first. Then they can worry about Momoshiki. And Boruto said to Kawaki that he can kill him. And then, so we're on page 36. Boruto said, for either situation, you need to get a lot stronger. He said, you're my dad's student. Normally, the ideal thing would be for you to free him and have him train you directly. But that's not a realistic option because it'd take too long. Kawaki, what I'm about to tell you is a conclusion that you would have reached on your own sooner or later. So since quicker is better, here it is. So basically, I think Boruto, he's seen all the timelines of pre-science, and he knows that Kawaki was going to have to get stronger eventually, but Boruto's just speeding things up for his own benefit. And Kawaki said, hold on, what are you saying? Let me get the next page, 37. He said, Boruto said, get Amado to talk. He's been hiding your power from you. Kawaki said, huh? Boruto said, in addition to putting limiters on your offensive abilities, he's adjusted your defensive and regenerative abilities to above maximum levels. Kawaki's shocked. He said, what? And then here's Amado just snooping, listening in. We see him. He said that, and Kawaki said, that geezer, likely because he can't afford for me to die. So I'm guessing due to pre-science, Boruto saw that Kawaki was able to get his limiters removed eventually, but Boruto's spilling the beans early. We hit page 38, and here's Amado saying, how did Boruto find out? And we see a hand clutching the toads. What is this? How is this correlating? Who's holding this?
This is a flashback. This is a flashback of when Kawaki picked up the toad and then the code vanished.
Right. And Amado clearly knew about the toad. So Amado's thinking to himself, and he says to himself, then that toad minion the other day was the real deal. But even if it was, it's hard to believe Koji is alive. And say that he were, what could he do at this point? What's his motive? So Amado doesn't even know anymore what, he has no control over Kashin Koji. He's done with, but Amado, this whole panel is crazy. Because he's like, how did Boruto find out? And Kashin Koji was the one that had Boruto find out with his pre-science. So basically, we know that when Kashin Koji was about to die, his pre-science activated, and Amado had no idea about any of this. So at the bottom of the page, Boruto says, Amado needs your karma for his own self-serving purposes. So Akibi. And then he says, he messed with your abilities to try to prevent your death. I bet he thought Code would attack you. And the next page, 39, he says, if you think I'm lying, ask Amado I'm heading out. He said, all right, I'm heading out. Like the SpongeBob meme. And Kawaki said, Boruto, I ain't changing my opinion. Osusuki are evil and need to be exterminated. Those divine tree people, it's the Osusuki's fault for bringing the Ten Tails. Every single one has to be eliminated, including you and me. But we'll start with those pesky divine trees. So it seems like Kawaki's now going to follow along with Boruto, but he also agrees that he needs to die as well. And then here we are on second to last page, page 40. Kawaki says, by any means necessary, partnering with you, even. And it seems like Boruto cut him off. And he said on the next page, the last page, 41, he says, you better not weigh me down, bro. And then Kawaki said, back at you, jerk. And that is the end of chapter 15. And apparently that is the end of this arc. I guess, I don't know if that's the end of the arc, though, because they still have to go fight. I guess it is the end of the arc because now we're heading on to a new arc where Kawaki will get to train with Boruto and more stuff will happen. But I don't know if that's the end of the arc. Seems like it.
I think it makes sense because coincidentally, like Boruto and Kawaki, they're together, working together now, but also Code has been dropped in too. So like, if we want to think of each arc has different characters, different actors or whatever, different people who's going to have a focus, it seems like next arc is going to have a focus on Boruto and Kawaki teaming together and Code being thrown in there somehow because now he's going to be part of the story. I don't know what he's going to do exactly, but it feels like a new arc to me, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it feels like a new arc, but yeah.
I mean, very, very ballsy for Kawaki to say, better not hold me down, back at you to Boruto. I was going to say this. This kind of confirmed my suspicion because at the beginning of Two Blue Vortex, I was saying, well, Kawaki should be absurdly powerful, right? But then he's getting destroyed. He's getting owned by the Claw Grimes, and it's not looking so good. So like Kawaki is seen as this like almost like this cowardly, spineless figure, right? But I even though Kawaki is seen a negative light, I had the shadow. I put a benefit of the doubt that there's something deeper going on, and this chapter did confirm my suspicion that there's something weird happening with Kawaki's karma. And definitely Amato is holding him down big time. I think it's because Amato understands like how absurdly powerful Ishiki Otsutsuki was, and having a kid like Kawaki like gain that much power, it's just too dangerous. Like I'm not mad at Amato. I wouldn't be necessarily angry at Amato because like that's just too much power for a boy, if that makes sense.
Well, it makes me wonder though, because Code came to attack the village and Kawaki. Do we think Kawaki could have taken him on? Because like they didn't get a chance to really interact with each other.
For all we know, Amato did like more configurations or modifications to Kawaki during the time skip. So like, obviously like Kawaki goes to Amato for checkups, but it wouldn't surprise me if like Amato nerfed him even more intentionally. Because Kawaki during his fight against like Boroshiki, like he was impressive. He was amazing. He was doing incredibly good. But then like we see it almost was like he got nerfed in the beginning of Two Blue Vortex. So I do suspect Amato did further like patches, quote unquote patches to Kawaki. Like a nerf.
It's really similar to Naruto having the Nine-Tail Seal restricting his chakra. Is very similar.
Yeah.
And then Boruto's karma being unstable is very similar to Sasuke's curse mark having Orochimaru trying to eat at him and try taking control over him. Remember when he fought like Itachi
That's an
and
excellent
when he
point.
weakened. Yeah, and both of them are very similar. It's just remixed. It's just different.
Remixed. Like, so like on to like on Boruto's point, I guess to defend Boruto here is like even though Boruto, yes, he's not as well trained as with karma as Kawaki, in his defense, Boruto has a true karma in a way, right? Kawaki's karma is configured to him. Boruto has to deal with a very angry, salty, possessive, like ghost. Right? A legitimate Otsutsuki is inside of him. So, I mean, on Boruto's defense, it is more dangerous to use karma because karma was never. It's very obvious karma is never intended for the benefit of the host. It's a death sentence. It's a curse. Kawaki is just very fortunate. He's free from Ishiki.
Yeah, it's crazy. The danger for Kawaki's karma is him being so powerful. He's just it's mainly his mental state that we're worried about. Like an Ishiki level edgy teenager.
Oh no.
who loses control. And then for Boruto, like he's the mature one, but he has to worry about this
Crazy.
this alien, this ghost, this boogeyman inside of him that's trying his best to drive him crazy so that he could end the world.
Right.
It's so crazy.
We talked about that, me and Zook. We were like, Jura is a good example. Jura is an antagonist, but Momoshiki's a villain.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. Right? Like
Jura is like yeah, I agree 100%. 100%. And like I know it wasn't here from Mitsuki, but I feel like Mitsuki's here to parallel Boruto to a degree because of his father.
mm-hmm.
I haven't really thought about too much. I'm just kind of throwing something together right now, but I feel like I did some thinking, and I was like, why is Shinki a part of the freaking story? Like, what's the point? Why is the Sand Village involved? Who cares? But I've been doing some thinking, and Shinki does have some similarities to Boruto to a degree, and I feel like Shinki's meant to. I don't expect him to die, but he is some good fodder. Let's just say he's good fodder to like kill off. Like he's a very good representation of Boruto running around, what Boruto could be. And I feel like it's just something to pay attention to in the future.
That in going back to like the Kawaki point, so we have no limiters code, right? And apparently like, he's supposed to be quote unquote monstrous in strength, even though like bad showings, but now we have Kawaki now, like no limiters Kawaki. So that just makes Kawaki all the more terrifying because like if this is him who's extremely nerfed, what the hell is his potential once you unleash said limiters, right? So like and here's the truth, and I'm just gonna say it out here, is at the end of the day, Boruto does have an inferior karma, technically. It's because Ishiki was just a monster. Like he was just on a completely different level of power.
Yeah, even right now, we don't know if anyone has truly made it to Ishiki's level. Like we've been throwing Jigen around, but Jigen's not Ishiki. Ishiki was stronger.
Yeah.
We don't know if anyone has truly made to Ishiki's level as of right now.
Yeah, because Ishiki he has the perfect power ability to like just just like avoid any situation. And the fact that he's the Otsutsuki, like again, Genjutsu is not going to work. And like he's fast, he's physically powerful, he's intelligent, he's skilled. He can stop projectiles, like he can fly, he can do a lot of shit. Yeah. So, but now don't get me wrong, Momoshiki he's a monster too. But Momoshiki, like again, he's not on that realm of Ishiki, right? So like that.
I would argue Momoshiki is a bit more intelligent than Ishiki, but Ishiki is just straight raw power. I'm not saying he's dumb though. He's not dumb. But like I view Momoshiki as like
more cunning.
Yeah, exactly. Like that's what's dangerous. Like how like Ishiki, he just beat down Naruto and Sasuke. Momoshiki in a split second took out Sasuke's eye.
Right.
Yeah, Momoshiki is more devious.
Yeah. The thing about like Momoshiki is like he's also a fast learner, but I would argue Ishiki's more wise because it's very, very obvious that Ishiki, he sees shinobis as, still as fodder. He still sees them as, worms, but he still respects like shinobi system.
To be fair, Ishiki has grown, has lived on Earth, so he is more wise. You're right. He's more wise and more knowledgeable about ninja society, about history, about Naruto and Sasuke's abilities, the Susanoo, everything. And Momoshiki is not. That's his disadvantage. He's not knowledgeable. He can only learn everything as he's going. Like ever since he like landed on Earth in Boruto, that's where his journey started. But Ishiki has that like years of experience. He even adopted human habits. Bro's drinking wine.
Right. Like, I mean, you could argue that Kaguya really did humble Ishiki, like in a way, like that was his partner, and her betrayal like humbled him to the point when he was like, okay, all right, maybe I should like think and chill for a minute. Momoshiki's downfall was his big head. Like he literally came down like trash talking everybody and everything, and that's what led to his ultimate downfall. Like he literally thought he was gonna get like the problem with Momoshiki is like he underestimated the shinobi system. He also in by extension underestimated like what Kaguya was in the past. So I think that was definitely why he died so quickly. And I think like it's very obvious Momoshiki like toned it down. Like he's like, all right, maybe I did a mistake, and he's trying to fix it right now.
Which makes that, which is terrifying. Literally, I could say Momoshiki is the boogeyman of Boruto.
Well, he hates Boruto with a passion, and Naruto's like I think he sees Naruto, Sasuke, and Boruto. He hates them all equally because I mean, even in the anime, it was shown that like Momoshiki does admit like he felt utterly humiliated. Like it probably like it probably like makes him even more like of a desperate soul in a way.
Well, he's petty. Like he's so petty. Like if you look at how he fights Sasuke and Boruto, but with the help of Sasuke, took out his eye, his Rinnegan. So he took Sasuke's Rinnegan. Naruto and Boruto finished him off with a Rasengan. So he tried to finish Naruto off with a Rasengan. He's so petty.
Right, he's extremely petty, and Ishiki was straight to the point. That was like Ishiki tried to not take anything personal. Like Ishiki's very stoic. Momoshiki, he's very, 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 like you said, petty, and he won't forget if you did him wrong. Momoshiki will hold grudges. Like he will make sure you pay for that. But I mean, honestly, it kind of suits its character though. Now,
It
now
it,
the
it makes him a bit predictable to a degree. Now that I think about it, it might
yeah.
make him a bit predictable. Like now we could kind of maybe sit down and think, what did Boruto and Kawaki do that he's gonna flip back onto them? You know?
hmm Definitely, I could see that definitely happening. Now I'd argue Jura may be more dangerous. Honestly, I'm gonna be honest. I would argue Jura is the most dangerous of those three because of Jura's cold, calculating mindset. Like Jura is 100% logical, right? So if you have an enemy that's just based, he focuses straight up on logic, right? That's honestly the most dangerous foe because he now emotions don't get in his way. Like he's not emotionally inclined for revenge or he's like Code just said, "Oh, I want to eat that chocolate fruit," and Jura's like, "Ah, interesting. Okay, what if we eat it?" That what it's whatever, right? That's what makes
Yeah.
Jura so like okay. So the reason why I said Jura versus Damon would be a very fitting fight is because of Jura's mentality. Like Jura has a mentality of a supercomputer, like a stoic. Like he's like, oh, like he's like, okay, this is how Damon works.
Well,
This is to beat him, huh?
he's literally an allegory for AI. So like what's happening is he's at his more primitive state, but like
Mm-hmm.
eventually he's going to become too much. And I don't think he's going to become the final villain. I'm still wondering if he's going to end up eating the chakra fruit like he teased.
Mm-hmm.
I'm still leaning towards Code actually being the one to eat the chakra fruit because I don't see
Mm-hmm.
Jura being the end, but I do see Jura being a crazy
A
option.
cataclysm, like
Yeah.
a cataclysm is something big, definitely.
Yeah.
So I was telling people that I want you to like pay attention to all the Shinju, and then compare them to Otsutsuki's. None of like again, they're very different. Otsutsukis are very regal. They're royal like. They wear these white robes, very clean. And then the Shinju, they're wearing very torn up black design. And guess who else had that? The only other Otsutsuki that had that sort of like design was Shibai himself. And then remember the claw marks. They're from Shibai, and these claw marks are responsible for the creation of the Shinju.
You're right.
Right. So like I see there might be a sort of connection going on. This actually made me question as well that maybe claw grimes are not new. It's possible Shibai might have did it in the past. He might have weaponized Ten Tails for his own uses. Um, mhm.
Hmm. It. I mean, if Cole knew how to do such a thing, then it's possible. It's 100% possible. Shibai
Right.
is.
I
Yeah.
Shibai is an alien who's much, much, much older and a lot. I'm just gonna flat out say it. He's definitely intelligent, extremely intelligent.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm wondering if maybe Shiba was born from Shinju devouring the divine tree that they produce. So maybe Shiba would be reborn if Jura eats his own fruit.
Oh, that'd be like an hilarious like rabbit hole because I was like a theory like 2 years ago that like maybe Otsutsukis are like 10-tailed beasts, right? But that'd be a totally different rabbit hole altogether.
Well, I mean, I guess it's not completely 100% impossible because if we're
Right,
assuming, because we know the cloud marks is mixed with Coast blood, right?
right.
And we know that Amato implanted Shibai into Code.
Mm-hmm.
So the fact that Code like awoken a Shinjutsu means that their chakra has merged together to a degree. Like that's how it works in Naruto. The Indra plus Ashra equals Hagoromo Rinnegan, right? So that's how it works. So because Code awoken the claw marks, we could assume that to a degree the claw marks has some of Shibai's. It's hard to say DNA because science. I don't know if that's how science works, but I'll say chakra at least. His chakra, at least a little bit of his chakra, should be in those claw marks. Like it's not impossible to say that Shibai could spawn from these claw grind.
And,
like, and on top of that, if his body is on Earth, the chakra fruit's going to have his genetics inside that fruit. So that's even more possible that he could reemerge like that.
There's like the thing about Shibai is there's like endless possibilities with this guy. I mean he's still a huge mystery. Like, and the fact that it's just that you can reintroduce Shibai in so many different ways. It's kind of crazy. And that's what I mean. There's like this. I know there's like this sudden weird connection, and who knows at this point? But I'm definitely seeing like these Shinju doing massive amounts of damage, and like now I don't know about Code. I hope Code is not stupid and he challenges Boruto and Kawaki again.
Well, let me put this into perspective. Boruto takes a lot of inspiration from Dragon Ball, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if we put things in order, for those of you guys who are like knowledgeable about Dragon Ball, Future Trunks came from the future and warned us for the danger of the androids, right?
Right.
He literally said, "Dark future, the androids are going to come and kill everyone." Well, Boruto literally came out of nowhere, just like Trunks did, and warned everyone of a dark future. So we could assume that it's a similar role, right? It's inspiration right there, right?
Mm-hmm.
However, at the end of but it turned out the true threat was Cell. It was the androids wasn't even the true threat. There was a redirection towards Cell. He was the true threat. And I'm assuming in Boruto, the Shinju are supposed to be represented as the androids, and there's another threat hidden somewhere. The Cell of the arc. And it makes sense because the Shinju are made of people's DNA and chakra. Cell is a combination of everyone's DNA and chi. So all I'm saying is the Shinju is being heavily hinted as a misdirection if we're going by Dragon Ball standards.
Right.
Sorry to interject, but
I don't know.
Like, I got something to say about that little theory of yours. I don't really know how probable that would be, considering that Cassian Koji was able to view all possible futures. And in all possible futures, it did turn out that Jura actually was the main villain who killed Boruto. So I don't really know how that will follow.
Well, the thing it depends on how. Okay, so what Kashin Koji told Boruto versus what he saw isn't going to be completely the same. I'm pretty sure. I feel like he didn't tell Boruto everything he's seen, because there's certain things he tells Boruto is going to trigger other futures. He needs the ideal future, so Kashin Koji needs to talk and act carefully. So what we heard him telling Boruto, like, I know the panels show the visions of the Shinju, and they are the current big threat, but I can guarantee you Kashin Koji did not see the end of Boruto.
Well, I
he
know
said-
that Ikimoto got inspiration from the Matrix. So I wonder how this relates to the Matrix. Like the way the story of the Matrix went might be the way that the story of Boruto goes, because that's his Ikimoto's biggest inspiration.
I could
Mhm.
do an entire podcast on this, but the biggest thing I will say is in the Matrix, eventually they met the creator of the Matrix, and the person who created everything, and I'm assuming that's going to be Shibai to a degree.
Mhm.
I don't know. Like, it has like a good amount of like panels, even in Shippuden and data books, that says it was actually the Ten Tails that created the universe and not Shibai. It said that he only created the world, the current world, by the way, and its infinite possibilities, quote unquote.
But that was before Shibai was introduced.
Yeah, but they still said when he was introduced, he created the current world.
No, they said omnipotence is a jutsu that creates worlds. That's what it said.
I can send the shit. Hold up, let me send in the discussion real quick.
Well, I was gonna say, like, when it comes to like old data books, like sometimes we kind of like some things can't be taken too seriously with data books. The reason why is because like Orochimaru in the first data book, he was considered like the most powerful ninja to ever exist, right? But I mean, like, if we take that literally, then yeah, if we take that literally, like the most powerful threat, right? If we take it literally, then we gotta like, okay, then what's Pain or Momoshiki or Madara, so practically, like, data books are good, but
I mean, that's cool and all, but it's supported by the manga too. Check discussion.
Right. Another thing I would say as well is retcons can occur, like potentially future retcons, but let me see. 10 Tails. Right, but that's only for the world. That's only for Earth, right?
Wait.
So does chakra only exist on the Earth they're in, or when they say the beginning of chakra, they mean something else?
Is that word supposed to be the Ten Tails or omnipotence?
What are you talking about? You talking about the top one? The top one is about omnipotence. I'm basically showing that to say that it said the current world and not made to create worlds. Like, I was just bringing that up, and it's the other one.
Momoshiki literally has a line in the manga that says omnipotence is a jutsu that is the... It didn't say that creates worlds exactly. It said the building blocks to creating worlds or something like that.
I remember the shit. Like, he said that omnipotence is the shinjutsu of all shinjutsu, and it was used to like create like, let me see. I actually got the panel actually. That actually will help a lot.
Well, my point is the Ten Tails isn't what's creating the worlds. That's what I'm saying.
It created the universe. It has a lot of worlds to go around.
Well, in canon, when we say universe, like, we also like have to consider what is this translated to. Like, I mean, universe means like our existence, our world, but not necessarily like the celestial like amalgamation of the universe or space, right? So I think some things are just weirdly translated. I know in Dragon Ball they called Zamatsu said the Zero Humans plan, right? But humans don't exist on every planet in every galaxy. It's right. It was Zero Mortals plan.
Sure. Like, universe could mean multiple different things, but if we're arguing over what the author's intentions are to convey to us, then would Kishimoto in this instance be saying when they Osusuki create universes, or he was the beginning of the universe, you think he's talking about the Earth?
So in canon, I was going to say in canon there are multiple worlds and planets, and it's also so basically like it's now canon that like Ten Tails, all the Ten Tails is a parasite. Like it's an extraterrestrial parasite. So planets existed. Earth has been around, but it's just that Ten Tails is a parasitic alien. It's responsible technically for the dispersion of chakra, thanks. Technically speaking, it is responsible for like humans using chakra, but the Earth, is a different entity than the Ten Tails.
It's at the beginning of chakra, not just the beginning of humans chakra.
Right. Well, so like chakra, as in, so if you take like both manga and anime, I think a good example would be like the Sage of Six Paths, right? He taught Ninshu, right? But before him, Kaguya didn't disperse any of her chakra to any people. Like in Kaguya's mind, all chakra belonged to her, but it was Hagoromo that taught humans how to use chakra. But and right, if you go to Boruto, the manga in Boruto, even Amado states that like what a Ten Tails does, it sucks out and siphons planetary chakra, and it absorbs all that chakra. It's like a filter. It's like some sort of complex filter. And then what happened is after Kaguya was sealed, all that chakra was dispersed and just handed out to humans.
Wait, so you're saying before Kaguya came, or you talking about the first time she showed up, like when she had like a husband and stuff?
Mm-hmm.
So where did she get chakra from?
So Kaguya is an Otsutsuki, right? And so like Otsutsukis, they use Shinjutsu, and Shinjutsu would be very different from like ninjutsu or ninshu.
I mean, it still takes chakra. Like Kawaki has a Shinjutsu, and when he shrinks a lot, he gets tired and drained.
Right. It's because Otsutsukis by nature they already have chakra. Now how do they do this? I have no idea. But chakra to humans, that's technically a new concept in the grand scheme of things. In the grand scheme of things, right? Because even Momoshiki and his crew they were surprised that like, oh shit, like these creatures, they've weaponized chakra. Like that's new. It's like it's not normal. Like humans, I understand why Momoshiki came in with a big head, because in his mind he probably was thinking that, oh, it's just like humans. They can't do shit. They can probably throw spears and arrows at best, but not fireball jutsu, if that makes sense.
I mean, I guess that makes sense. Okay. But like, what's your point right now?
No. Well, the point is like, so basically for the shinobi system to exist, you are right. The Ten Tails is responsible for that technically. But before the Ten Tails, like there was no chakra like usage. Like even before Hagoromo's time, like they were just ordinary people.
Oh, so you're just saying that the Ten Tails is only responsible for jutsu rather than what the data book entails. So
wait, okay,
how about it?
Wait, so what is?
Oh, go ahead.
So what point are you making right now? What point are you trying to make?
You're asking me.
Just to clarify, like what the Ten Tails is. Like, the Ten Tails is, according to the data book, responsible for all chakra. Yes, that is true, but only for Earth's case. Because the chakra was already siphoned. During those moments, right? It was already siphoned by that chakra tree, and Kaguya was defeated, which allowed humans to finally kind of wield that power. I think it's just like you also have to take in like other the other like lore as well. It's really important. And Amato did like confirm it.
That he created everything, not just the planet. Like, if you want to say that he created the planet they're on, then you're basically contradicting the Shibai statement, which also says he created the planet. So, which is it?
No. There's nothing that says Shibai created the planet. Now, I know what the quote says, but I feel like the current world is. I feel like there's a misunderstanding with the word world. I feel like they're referring to world as Ada's dream. Ada's
what the
like
fuck?
activation.
Or my bad for my profanity, but that was just unexpected.
I know. Like, I know. Because you're taking it as Earth, as in as in someone created Earth using omnipotence. But that is a huge. That's a huge lore thing going on right there. That's confirming someone literally created Earth with omnipotence.
Well, the drifting, I mean, the whole omnipotence thing, that's like, I'm not going to lie, that is sort of like crazy. It's almost kind of creepy in a way, technically, because like if omnipotence can manipulate like your mind, what else is like forged? You know what I mean? Like, what's true at this point?
Well, I agree. So what's happening is Ada's ability is watered down. I feel like the full power of omnipotence can genuinely create like alter reality.
I wouldn't say it's watered down. Like the only difference they brought out in the manga is that she can't consciously use it, but she could subconsciously use it.
No, well, it's watered down because it's being used kind of like a Genjutsu-esque kind of ability. Yeah. That's why it's watered down. But I feel like the real omnipotence can literally like alter reality, like create actual worlds. But saying that omnipotence is what created Earth in Naruto or Boruto or whatever, that's a huge statement because that implies that's a huge lore plot. I mean, a huge lore statement right there. I mean, we have to confirm that they were created by an Otsutsuki sometime in history.
I mean, if you agree that Ada is watered down, I mean, you really can't use Ada to debunk the fact that Shibai created the world.
So I was gonna, like,
there's nothing that states that Shibai created this world. It just says omnipotence was like if you show the.
You want me to read it out?
Like, yeah, go ahead.
All right, it says Kamio Suzuki used to be a god in a world that no longer exists. It is said that he used this technique to create the current world and its infinite possibilities. It is the ultimate power to materialize any thought or idea into reality. However, this power can only be wielded by Kamio Suzuki himself, making the power beyond control for Ada. Currently, Ada's ability is limited to manifesting only her untapped desires into reality without any conscious control over it. So what do you think that means?
It's watered down.
Well, I see your point.
Well, I believe that omnipotence was used to affect everybody's memories, so it made the world the way it is. Because
it infinite things it can do. Like it can do anything. That's what the manga was saying.
I still think it's huge to say that Shibai literally created Earth. That's what's bothering me right now, because that's a huge lore thing that everyone's just kind of walking past right now, that no one's acknowledging that Shibai literally created Earth, and then he decided to lay on Earth, because that's huge.
Wait. You have to understand too, like, this is really important. Momoshiki says like gods. I mean, that's kind of big. Like, we talked about it. There may be more than one Otsutsuki god. According to Momoshiki's own words, like, we don't even know, like, if Shibai is the only Otsutsuki who's truly like ascended. There could be others out there. We just don't know about it.
That's what I'm saying, though. Like, saying that Shibai is the one that created Earth is one thing, but I do believe that there are probably multiple gods out there.
I mean, I agree with that. I'm only saying he created the Earth. I'm not saying he created the universe.
Well, again, I feel like that's still a huge freaking lore claim right there.
Man, we also got to remember there's like literal parallel dimensions, and they got multiple universes out there that motherfuckers out here making. Like,
are you arguing that like all of this is Shibai's work? Like that their reality is like his dimension?
No, I'm saying the world is his. Like, that's what he made.
But the thing is, if you're claiming Shibai created the world that everyone in like Boruto and Naruto is living in, you're claiming that he created the world and he also decided to pass away in this world. Like, he planned out everything basically. Like, there's so many.
Yeah, like
there's so much we can go off of that. Like, if we assume Shibai genuinely created the current world, that's a huge entire. That's a huge revelation right there.
That's an interesting point, like the dying point you made, because like Momoshiki and Amuro actually brought up how it's likely that like Shibai deliberately like discarded his body. So like that actually was his plan from the start to go to the higher dimension.
Look, I mean, if what you're saying is correct, I wouldn't even be angry at it. It's just I feel like it's not as clear right now because
Wait, you have to understand his name too. Just like you know what Shibai is when translated, he's a troll, a joke, like a prankster, a joke, like a like funny, like he doesn't take things seriously, even though he looks like the most serious Otsutsuki. I mean that's just it's technically you might as well call him a troll Otsutsuki.
I don't know, man. I think
what I'm saying is like. Let's just say Shibai created Earth. That means he created Earth, and then he wandered the universe and did his thing, and then he decided to come back to Earth. See, there's so many assumptions, and that could be made by.
They're all pretty much proven because, like, like him traveling the universe. That's only likely since in order to do like the karmic resurrection anyway, you have to find a host who's compatible. You have to find a Osusuki to sacrifice to the Ten Tails. All of this is something you have to do in order to reach God level, and that's something he could not find only on Earth.
Like, see, based off of that statement, now we could say stuff like Ishiki came to Earth to search for Shibai's body.
I got a thought. Maybe the Earth is the Matrix, and then Shibai created the Matrix that all humans live in.
Well, that's something I believe happened. Like, I believe he altered everything to a degree, but like, literally creating Earth, I guess I never thought of that being him directly.
Kage is out here making space times, and it's crazy for Shibai to create a planet.
Well, for him to create Earth implies so many other things. We basically confirmed that the tablet, the destroyed tablet, is Shibai. In that case,
like all he did was create the world. Not like he created the tablet. Like let's say we speak like a real life sense, and we say let's say God in real life exists. Are you going to say that God is your computer or your phone because he created the world?
Well, when you say he created Earth, are we saying that he created Earth as his first, as his as his like for his resting place, like as a home? Or are you saying that he snapped his finger, multiple planets came to be, and he just decided Earth to lay on?
I mean, I didn't observe it. I mean, I'm just saying like both of those are likely.
Well, maybe they're all inside the Matrix, and Shibai was the one that created the Matrix that all humans live in, that all the ninjas live in, and Shibai can leave the Matrix whenever he wants to, and he can go back into it whenever he wants to.
I don't think the higher dimension is like some Matrix shit. Like that's very real.
The way I see it is how Shibai got to ascend in the first place. Very possible that Shibai at least. What does it take for someone to ascend? So I like to think of like how Shibai got to
like repeated karmic resurrection until you reach there.
Well, I mean yes, but like their intentions. Are we assuming that it was just purely for power, for the sake of power?
I mean, I don't see why else he would go there, like unless it's infinite women or something there, which I doubt because he has omnipotence because he make that.
I have a theory.
By ascend, he became aware that he was inside the Matrix, and he left the Matrix and gained greater consciousness.
I mean, the thing about like why people ask why do you want to become a god? I mean, here's the truth: we want to be free of a lot of our limitations. And that's one of the reasons why these superpowered aliens like do this, because like even in other fiction, like if you want to reach the next level, you have to like get past your limits, right? So I can see why Shibai would want to become a god. Like there are some things like that limit us. Like there are times where like I don't want to be under the jurisdictions of like, you know, Discord. I want to have my own set of rules. I want to like be my own boss instead of being like, you know, reduced to this. Like it's like is this all there is to life? So these Otsutsukis probably have the same mindset that there's more to all this. Like there's barriers to reach.
Yeah.
And
so yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, no, go ahead.
So the way I see it is because I like to think of everything like the entire picture, Naruto and Boruto, because whatever Shibai did, like it affects both Naruto and Boruto. There's so many dualities in this story, like when two characters are pitted against each other.
Like Naruto and Sasuke.
Yeah, Naruto, Sasuke, Hashirama, Madara. But even you can even say Kaguya and Izuki to a degree. You could say Boruto and Kawaki to a degree. Even outside of the the Ashra and Endra cycle, it's still happening. You see what I'm saying? So if Shibai altered things at all, he altered it specifically to figure out some sort of answer, and he's hoping that these two groups in conflict find the answer for him. I feel like that's what's happening. There's some sort of answer he's been looking for.
He's not only omnipotent, he's omniscient.
Yeah, but all-knowing. Well, wait, is omniscient all-knowing?
Yeah, like you know everything.
Well,
omnipotence, omniscience. I mean, it's like kind of hard, kind of like very, very like difficult. I mean, it should be all knowing, but
well,
everything that can be known.
Well, the thing is, if we just say that Shibai is all-knowing or he just wanted power, that's that. If Boruto ever meets Shibai, that's going to be a very boring conversation.
Bro.
A very
the
boring
Matrix,
conversation.
Might grab him as Jogan and just keep it moving, I guess. Like,
yeah, but that's what I'm trying to think of, like, because are we assuming that Shibai is never going to be, we're never going to meet Shibai, or are we going to eventually meet this man? Like, why was he introduced to the story?
Unless Boruto, like, I mean, I think he was more or less introduced to Boruto in order to, like, I guess, answer a lot of questions the community had for years. Like, okay, like, what are the Asusuki? Where do they come from? What are Shinjutsu? Like, where did time stop come from? Or we were just shooting fireballs? I think he's around to answer those sort of questions.
But we mostly know all of those answers except for where the Otsutsuki came from. But are you saying that that let's just say Boruto climbs all these obstacles, he meets Shibai, and Shibai just gives him a history lesson on the Otsutsuki? There's still a purpose behind it. Like, if we just say he's all-knowing, that's that. What are they going to talk about? If we just say he just wanted power and that's that, what are they going to talk about?
I mean, they don't need to talk. Like, just one of the, like, Shibai did in the thousands of years he was alive is good enough. Like,
well, but like, there has to be some sort of meaning to this at the end of the day. Like, why is Boruto meeting Shibai? I mean, I guess I'm assuming Shibai. Maybe he won't meet Shibai. Maybe Shibai is just going to stay this mysterious figure that we're going to meet. But if he were to meet Shibai, I feel like there has to be something that they could talk about.
I mean, there's always the possibility that Shibai can, like, switch on and off his omniscience, kind of like a selective omniscience type of thing. Like, if he wants to not
just
know
switch
something.
off his, just switch it off to have a normal conversation.
Yeah, I got a few characters like that, but I can't even really, like, think of, like, for instance, like, you know, Truth from Full Metal Alchemist.
I've heard of him. I haven't watched the series, so I don't know him, but
Well, yeah, I say he's a good enough example. Although Boruto has to make it to the higher dimension in the first place to even converse with him, unless he sends down like an avatar.
Well, I guess this is just me. I was just thinking, if Shibai altered things, altered history, then there's a reason why he had so much conflict, people fighting to find answers. Because every conflict has been related to trying to find some sort of answer. I don't know if it's peace.
And you eat the chakra fruit.
Do you think an omniscient being could figure out peace?
Like, whoever eats the chakra fruit is gonna know everything there is to know. Because Shibai was on that planet. If you get all records of all past life and shit, then you're obviously gonna know about Shibai as well. So whoever eats that is gonna be on a roll.
Ray, was he saying Ray?
I like feel like I feel like he like reached a certain point to where he was like strong enough to like reshape the past, you know what I'm saying? Like make the pretty much just like turn the world into like something based around him, you know what I'm saying? Like create the world in his image, except without like fully recreating the world, you know? So
Yeah, I
that's
gotta
like
get what you mean.
I don't know how to explain that fully, low-key. I don't know.
I
see
get
what
what you
you're saying.
mean. Like that just sound like a reference to like the Bible, how like God created the world in His image.
Well, but isn't Shibai referencing like religious figures? Like if you compare him to like images of Jesus, for example, like it's
I don't know
very
if he's meant
similar.
to reference a specific religious figure, but I guess he himself is a religious figure in the Boruto verse.
Like Hagoromo, he was a religious figure.
Yeah, like they're their own religious figure based off of their own self. Kind of like it's kind of hard to explain.
Yeah, like it's just like there's so many assumptions we can make. Like if we say Shibai did create Earth, but Boruto's never going to meet him, that's such a. It doesn't feel like a Kishimoto thing to do.
I mean,
It feels like Boruto's going to meet him, but that's my opinion. Like I could be wrong.
look on the bright side. There's a lot of stuff to look forward to. Like for one, like the two missing Otsutskis, we still don't know who those are. The potential evolution of the Shinju, we don't know what they're gonna like end up doing. New Shinju, we don't know what their personalities are gonna be like. Code, what's in store for Code? Like we don't have to like worry about Shiba, although it would be cool to like have a little conversation between them. I mean, we can't just contradict them knowing everything just for a conversation to make sense.
Well, yeah. As of right now, we're making a lot of assumptions about Shibai. I feel like Momoshiki's line is something that we should remember, though, when he said to Boruto, "Have you ever thought about how many times an Otsutsuki god has like altered your reality?" I gotta find.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Because that always stuck with me. Because I'm pretty sure he said gods.
Yeah, he said like altered memories. Like I don't remember saying like reality, but like altered memories a few times.
But then, like when gods do that, I mean, you tend to ask why. Like, why are you doing this? Are we just gonna get that just because kind of answer?
Kawaki type of answer. Like they fucked up and they needed to change it.
Like I feel like Boruto might end up trying to break the Otsutsuki cycle somehow. Like, by doing that, he's going to talk to Shiba. But I just don't know how that's going to happen. I don't have enough information. No, well, I knew you was here. I saw your. I had a feeling you were chilling.
Oh yeah, I found the panel now. He said every person's consciousness is by nature linked through chakra, so it's not impossible for a god to meddle with it if they so choose. Have you ever contemplated how many times an Otsutsuki who became a god may have previously manipulated humankind's memories? So like he said, yeah, the memories.
Yeah. Which, that's such a big statement, but it has to be like foreshadowing to